Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to have a look at yet another beer from the latest instalment of the Davor box. So a massive thank you once again to one of my subscribers, Davor Šireč, for making this review possible. He is responsible for all of the Slovenian beers that you've seen me review over the last years, and yeah, he has a ridiculous knowledge of beer, particularly Belgian beers actually. I've been trying to encourage him to start up his own channel, not with much success yet, but fingers crossed that's something that he will look at in the future. But I'm sure when I make it to Slovenia we will see about doing some out and about videos with Davor in them. That would be awesome to do actually. But in the meantime, Davor, huge thank you to you once again for making this review possible. For this review then, we are going to have a look at a brewery who are kind of Austrian and kind of Slovenian. So if you are into your beers, you probably know who we're going to have a look at today once again. So for this review we are going to go to Bad Radkersburg, which is a very small village just over the border from Slovenia into Austria, and we're having a look at my fifth beer from Brauhaus Bevog, or Bevog Brauhaus, however you want to call them. I think you could also technically call this brewery Pivovarna Bevog as well. But this particular beer is called the Helles Export Spezial. It comes in at 4.6% ABV, and this is one that Davor thought I would really quite enjoy. As I've told you recently on the channel, I have been going through a little bit of a lager phase, so this is one of the Slovenian lagers that or Slovenian Austrian lagers, I guess we should say, in this case, that Davor thought I would really like to have a taste of. So yeah, very curious to see how this one turns out. As I said, this is the fifth beer I've had from Bevog. I think Davor sent me 3 of them, if I remember rightly, and I think I might have found one of them in Stirling actually, in my hometown back in Scotland. So yeah, this is a brewery that you can sometimes find outside of Austria and Slovenia. And they are quite decorated as well actually, so if you do get the chance to try some of their beers, I would highly recommend that you do. They've got some really great stuff there actually, and this is a brewery that I definitely want to visit when I do make it down to Slovenia actually. That would be awesome. So yeah, very curious to see how this one turns out. I hope that you guys enjoy my take on this beer as well, and I hope that you guys enjoy the rest of the Davor Slovenian mini-series that we're going to be reviewing here on the channel over the next little while. So yeah, let's see how we get on with this one then. Very curious to see what this beer has in store for us. So as always with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery before we taste the beer. If you want to go straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the video description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from Brauhaus Bevog before, and you will no doubt see more added to that list at some point in the near future. There's all the usual social media down there. If you want to see more reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel of course has a geography based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, province, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlists of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Slovenian beers that I've reviewed for you, and another one for all the Austrian beers. This one will appear in both probably because, you know, a lot of people say we should consider Bevog as a kind of dual nationality brewery, and as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Brauhaus Bevog then, on to my brewery notes. So Bevog was founded back in 2013 by Slovenian Vasil Golar. So he had worked in his family's electronics business for a number of years, and he was actually at a fair in Belgium where he discovered what beer could be. You know, ridiculous number of breweries in Belgium. But when he returned to Slovenia, he learned that there were actually possibilities to make better beer there. So he began home brewing in his garage. And he's mainly a self-taught brewer actually, but he took a short course in Germany to kind of get a handle of working with bigger equipment and things, from what I understand. But this brewery is located in Bad Radkersburg, a small village of about 1,300 people in Styria in southeastern Austria, and this town is a little to the kind of southeast of Graz in Austria, and also a little bit to the kind of northeast of Maribor, which is the second city of Slovenia in the northeastern part of the country. But the village sits on the Mur River, which separates Austria from Slovenia, and it's twinned with the town of Gornja Radgona, which is actually Vasil's hometown on the other side. There's only about 2 or 3 kilometres distance between these two places. But Vasia apparently chose to open his brewery in Austria because there was a lot of problems with permits and things in Slovenia, and you know, Bad Radkersburg, where the laws were a lot easier, if you like, in Austria, was only 3 kilometres away, so it just kind of made sense for him to do it over the border. But the brewery itself is in the industrial area of the town, out to the east, and it's only a short walk from the centre. And the beer can be drank on site there. They've got a tap room there that you can go and visit. Like I said, this is somewhere that I definitely want to go and take a look at. But they've been expanding their capacity since they've opened, and they also offer tours of the brewery as well. And today they employ around 15 people, and they produce around 500,000 litres of beer per year, or 5,000 hectolitres, however you want to express that number. But as of October 2020, when I'm filming this review for you, these guys have produced around 60 different beers, and there's a whole variety of different styles in there. There's IPAs, pale ales, there's lagers, there's barley wines, there's quite a few stouts and things like that as well. I've never tried a stout from these guys actually, so I think perhaps in the next Davor box I'll need to ask him to put in one of the big barley wines, or one of the imperial stouts or something like this, because that's an area we've never really touched with Bevog before. So fingers crossed we can make that happen. So yeah, that's all I can really tell you about Brauhaus Bevog, Pivovarna Bevog, however you want to term them at the moment. But a very well respected brewery, these guys. They've won awards both in Slovenia and Austria, from what I understand. And yeah, they are a very nice brewery in my experience as well. I've had some very good beers from these guys in the past. So yeah, if you want to learn more about this brewery, then you can check out the brewery website. You can follow them on Facebook and Instagram to keep up to date with all the latest goings on, and you can of course check out the Rate Beer, Untappd and Beer Advocate pages to learn more about all the different beers that these guys have done. So yeah, let's get on and actually have a taste of this beer then. I'm very, very curious about this. So I have to say, you know, it's something I know the Slovenian beer scene quite well, thanks to Davor of course, but the Austrian beer scene is a little bit kind of unknown to me. You know, there was an Austrian beer tuber at one point called Katzenfeld. His name was Wolfgang, and he had a really nice channel actually where he did some beers and he did food and things like that. A lovely, lovely guy actually, but he stopped making videos unfortunately. And the Austrian, you know, it's a shame. I wish he had kept going, the Austrian beer scene is one that I don't know too much about. I know Brew Age, and I think I've had another brewery from Austria as well, if I remember rightly, but probably Bevog and Brew Age are the two breweries that you are most likely to find from Austria, outside of Austria. And you know, even the traditional Austrian beers you don't find all that much, to be honest. You know, I think it's I actually hardly ever see Austrian beers outside of Austria. I need to get down there actually and try a few more of the different breweries. So if someone is watching in Austria and would be happy to arrange a beer box for me, I'll send some money. Do let me know. It would be awesome to try and review a few different beers from Austria. But yeah, these guys, as I say, you should really consider Bevog kind of Slovenian and also kind of Austrian at the same time. But as you can see with this can, it's got lovely artwork on it there. It's got the kind of traditional German checks on it, if you like. I don't know if that's meant to be a kind of ode to like Bavaria, because the Bayerische crest, if you like, the Bavarian crest has the white and the thing. So I don't know if this is actually the colours of Bad Radkersburg or something like that. Do let me know if you're from the local area in the comments section. But there you can see on the can there is the Bevog B, if you like. But yeah, a very nice style of artwork, this one. And I do like this little thing with the jester on the bottom actually. So this can is really nice, I have to say. But yeah, like I said to you, it is 4.6% Helles lager beer, this one. It says lagered for 7 to 10 weeks, unpasteurised, unfiltered, crisp and balanced, the noble hops, the finest malt, pure water and carefully selected yeast strain for this true traditional lager for demanding beer drinkers. Prost. So yeah, this one is intended to be more of a kind of, I guess you could say, German beer, but we have to be careful with that of course, because we are talking about Austria. But you know, Slovenia and Austria have quite a bit of history together. You know, Slovenia was part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire until the end of the First World War, when it was dissolved to become Austria, Hungary, Czechoslovakia, all of these kind of things, and then the Balkan countries actually went on to be the Yugoslav Confederation, if you like. So yeah, and then Slovenia became independent in 1991. So yeah, half-litre can, this one incidentally. It costs, when I looked on the Bevog web shop, it costs about €2.40, which is pretty good. But yeah, let's get this guy out and we will get on with the tasting then. I'm very curious to see what this beer has in store for us. So yeah, this looks pretty nice, I have to say. So yeah, as you can see and as you would expect from this one, this is poured a lovely kind of pale golden straw colour. Actually, you can see there's a solid finger of a frothy, I would say perfect white head on this one. Quite a few big bubbles going up towards the bottom of that head there. You can see there's little tiny particles of sediment just floating around in this one. But yeah, it certainly does look the part for a Helles lager. If I put my fingers behind the glass, you can see this beer does have a little bit of clarity to it. You will find Helles beers that are a bit more, that are a little bit more kind of hazy than this one. You will find ones that are even clearer than this. It really just depends on the individual brewery. But in terms of the Helles style, this one looks pretty much as you would expect. We shine the light through this beer, yeah, definitely a nice, lovely, pale golden straw colour. So nothing surprising about this beer in terms of its appearance and when you consider what style it is. So yeah, let's take a closer look at the aroma then and just see how we get on with this one. Yeah, I really like how this one goes together. This is actually quite a bready leaning. It's actually a really bready leaning Helles, this one. So I think it's meant to be a Munich Helles, and you know that kind of makes sense with the artwork. I always found the Dortmunder Helles beers were just a little bit more hoppy than the Munich Helles beers. But yeah, this one has a really nice, smooth, kind of white bready quality to it. You can smell that straight away. There's a wee touch of a biscuity malt to this one in the middle of the nose, but I would say that overall, yeah, it's quite a crisp, almost grainy white bready character that you get out of this one. This is quite a, how do you say, it is really a bready leaning Helles, this one. It's quite a simple, it's really quite a simple kind of concoction almost, if you like. It's really nice how it goes together, and it just works. It works very, very well in my opinion. But yeah, the aroma of this beer is very, very nice. So yeah, it does actually, the more and more that I smell of it, it does from the yeast, I think, as a little touch of a kind of, it does have a wee touch of a slightly kind of earthy and woody element to it, and I think that is the yeast that's giving it that. So that's kind of interesting. So yeah, for the most part, the malty centre of the nose in the beer, lovely kind of crisp white bready character, a little bit of a biscuity sweetness in there. And you do also have some, as I say, you've really got quite a nice, just a little touch of a biscuity sweetness there and a few woody and earthy kind of undertones. I don't think there's that much more to report on this beer in terms of the malty and yeasty side of it, in fairness. So on the hoppy side of things then, you do get a nice little bit of earthiness out of it there as well, quite a smooth earthiness, but you've got a good little bit of a floral, a nice little bit of a kind of floral aromaticity out of this one, which is quite nice, a nice bright floral character. You've got a little bit of a lighter kind of grassiness to it as well, and this is kind of what you expect. I mean, I'm guessing that probably it will be Slovenian hops that are used in this one, perhaps from the Rojnik hop farm, which is, you know, they've got their own brewery, Green Gold Brewing, definitely worth checking out. It does smell like some of the hops from there. I wouldn't be surprised if this is, you know, Styrian Goldings or something that's in this. And the Austrians, of course, produce their own hops as well, so perhaps they're doing that. I mean, with it being called Helles, perhaps it's, you know, perhaps it is German or Austrian hops they're using in this one. I'm speculating here, but it is distinctively kind of noble. The grassy characters in this one are quite nice. The floral notes are nice, and I find this one, the earthiness is quite kind of smooth as well, actually. So this is a really nice smelling beer, and it's doing everything you expect of the Helles style, to be honest with you. So in terms of fruitiness, there's a nice little touch of perry ester from this one. You do get a little bit of that lemony, grassy, zesty sort of thing out of it as well. Maybe a wee slight touch of like a very slight apricot or something, but that's very, very minimal. I would say perry, little touch appley, and a little touch kind of grassy and lemony, to be honest with you. But yeah, it certainly does look and smell very, very nice when you consider the style, actually. So big thumbs up to Brauhaus Bevog for this one. I think this is going to be quite an interesting beer. Nothing surprising about this beer in terms of either its appearance or aroma, but I think it's going to be just a nice kind of drinkable one. So let's have a taste of this one then and see how we get on. So this one is the Helles Export Spezial from Brauhaus Bevog, or Bevog Brauhaus, Pivovarna Bevog, whatever kind of term you want to give from these guys, Bevog, who are in Bad Radkersburg, in Austria, in Styria to be precise, in the southeast of the country, but Slovenian owned. Let's get stuck into this one. Slanje, Skål, Prost, na zdravje. Cheers. Oh yeah, I'm going to say that is really solid. I wouldn't, have my previous experiences with Bevog, I wouldn't expect anything less. These guys know what they're doing, and this is another nice example. Kind of sad that I've only got one can of this now, to be quite honest. So yeah, probably. I think when I do go and visit Bevog, probably I will make sure I have to taste one of these beers on site actually, the lager beer. This one is really nicely done actually. As you'll know if you've watched the channel before, I'm a huge fan of my kind of traditional German style beers, and of course with the kind of close history between Germany and Austria, quite a few of the beer styles and things are very similar, and that's kind of transferred down into Slovenia as well actually. Quite a few of their beers and stuff like that have a bit of German influence in them, the traditional beers. So yeah, that's something definitely to remember about these guys. But yeah, I really like how this goes together. Definitely a Munich Helles all the way. Munich style Helles, this one. So let's try and break the flavour of this down a little bit then. Straight away with this beer you can feel that nice kind of smooth white bready quality. That blankets the middle of your tongue. If you go towards the back third of your palate, it's got a nice little bit of a kind of bitey. There's a little bit of a more kind of bitey, grainy quality there, and you can feel that the breadiness is just a little bit thicker on that back third of your tongue. But as you move further forward, you can go into the middle third of your tongue, and you feel that the mouthfeel it kind of goes down a little bit. So see, it does get a little bit lighter, and then there's a nice. There is just a nice little bit. You can feel. I think the bread is slightly smoother in that middle. In that middle third of your palate. So yeah, that one is I quite like that about it. But on top of that, you do get just a little kind of oily layer, if you like, and it's kind of biscuity, like a McVitie's digestive biscuit sort of thing. I don't know if that's a good reference for Austrians and Slovenians. I'm not sure if McVitie's biscuits do make their way to Austria and Slovenia right enough, but it has a very biscuity kind of almost cookie-like sort of thing to it in the middle of the palate. It's not too prominent. This beer definitely leans on the malty side of things. It definitely leans towards that. It definitely leans towards that kind of more bready, smooth type side of the spectrum. But there is just a wee touch of a biscuity sweetness in the middle of this one. But as I say, overall, this beer is definitely a Munich Helles. Definitely one of the more bready kind of Munich style Helles beers actually. But yeah, it comes across very, very nicely in my mind. Yeah, I certainly like how this one goes together, that's for sure. But yeah, I think we've covered the malty side of this beer and the yeasty side of it as much as we can. There's not too much to report on that. It's very bready, it's very smooth, a bit more bitey and grainy on the back third of your palate. Then it's got a wee bit of biscuit in the kind of middle third of your tongue too. So I like how that. I do like how that goes together with this one. In terms of the hoppy side of things, then. This one is a wee bit different in that sense. I'm pretty sure that it's not German hops that are in this. They just come across a little bit differently. The earthiness and floral notes aren't quite the same. I think it's Slovenian hops that are in here. But yeah, on the back corners of the palate, there is a wee touch of earthiness to this one. As you move further forward, it does have a wee bit of a slight herbal quality, but very quickly it becomes nice and floral. And then round the very front curve of the tongue, it's a little bit lighter and more grassy. in my mind, which I do really quite like. So that's a nice that is a nice part of this beer, I have to say. I like how that goes together. But the hops almost just feel a little bit drier in this one, and not quite as bright almost as you might get from the German hops. So that's an interesting point to make about this one. I'd be curious to know what varieties are in this beer. But yeah, on the fruity side of things then, as I always say, on that front third of your palate you get that nice oily bubble where the juicy fruity esters roll their way out of the beer. So with this one, when you go towards the back of that front third of your tongue, yeah, it's got a wee bit of a more pungenty citrus note to it, but when you come further forward from that, it becomes a little bit more juicy. You get a wee bit of a kind of peary quality to it. Then you start to get a few appley notes. Then you start to get a few more appley notes from it as well, which is quite nice. And then on the front, almost on the front tip of the tongue, you can feel the citrusy note becomes a little bit more pungent. It maybe has a wee tiny touch of lime, but I would say, yeah, appley and peary for the most part, to be honest with you. But yeah, pears, a little bit more of a peary note as you come further forward, a little bit appley, maybe a wee touch kind of limey, maybe even a little bit gooseberry-like as well. And as you reach the very front edge of the tongue, it's just got a wee, a little bit of a kind of lemony, zesty sort of thing to it as well. Kind of a grassy lemony zest, to be honest with you. But yeah, I really like this one. I mean, this, as I've told you before, I'm a huge fan of my traditional German beers. I imagine that my friend Peter, the Clue at the Clue of the Drinker, would really enjoy this one. It's a really nice example of the Helles style of beer. So yeah, I would really recommend this one for him actually. I'll need to see, when I do make it down to Slovenia, I'll maybe need to see about getting a can or two of this to send over to Peter, because I think he would really quite enjoy this one. So yeah, it certainly hit the spot for me, and I'm a big fan of this style, so well done to Brauhaus Bevog on this one. So I would say this is quite a classic, it's definitely quite a classic Munich style Helles, this one. So if you're a fan of, you know, the Hofbräus and all of these kind of things, the Augustiners, stuff like that, you will enjoy this one. Although this beer is a bit more bready than I remember the Augustiner lager beer being actually. But yeah, definitely a Munich Helles, no question in my mind about that. So yeah, in terms of the mouthfeel then, how do we describe this? Yeah, I would say that this is kind of top end of light bodied. The carbonation is very smooth in this one. It does have a degree of oiliness to it. It feels very clean, and I mean, Slovenia and Austria are very mountainous countries. You do expect the water to be of very good quality, so I'm not surprised that it has that kind of little bit of wetness and almost cleanliness to the mouthfeel. So yeah, in terms of hoppy bitterness, I think this one's about 25 IBUs. It does have a wee bit of nice kind of floral qualities to it on the side of the palate. I do think there is maybe about 25 IBUs in this beer, which is quite nice. On the fruity side of things, as I say, the fruits, it has a wee bit of juiciness, but I'd say it's kind of an oily fruity character that you get out of this one. And the malt base overall for me is pretty smooth actually. It is pretty smooth, but there's a little touch of sweetness to it. So for me, a very nicely done beer, and I really like how everything goes together in this one actually. It certainly gets a big thumbs up from me, and I've really enjoyed reviewing this beer for you here on the channel. So yeah, big thumbs up to Brauhaus Bevog for this one. They've pulled off a really nice lager beer, and I can see exactly why Davor thought I would enjoy this one, and I certainly have. You know, classic kind of Munich Helles beer, this one in my mind. So yeah, let's leave it at that for this review then. A 4.6% Helles beer, the Helles Spezial Export, or Helles Export Spezial to give it its proper name, from Brauhaus Bevog in Bad Radkersburg in Austria, Slovenian owned brewery. But yeah, very nicely done beer this, and I certainly look forward to more Bevog reviews at some point in the future. I have enjoyed this one. So yeah, thank you again for watching my beer reviews. Thank you to Davor once again for making this review possible. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Bevog as well. We will return to these guys at some point in the fairly near future. If you are watching from Austria, do let me know some other Austrian beers and breweries that I should be having a look at, because I would love to explore the beer scene there a little bit more. It's been a long time since I was in Austria. I think I was about 10 years old or something the last time I was there. But yeah, somewhere that I definitely want to go back to at some point in the fairly near future. But lovely, lovely beer, this one. Definitely a brew I'd recommend, and I thank you guys for watching. So as always, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on the beer in the comments section below. Let me know your favourite Bevog beers. Thank you to Davor once again. Check out my social media, and I will catch you guys very soon. This one was the Helles Spezial Export, or Helles Export Spezial. Keep doing that, from Brauhaus Bevog in Bad Radkersburg in Austria. Thanks again for watching. Thank you to Davor. Slanje, Skål, Prost, Nastravia. Cheers.